Hello, welcome. Today I'm going to be doing a guide on how to play the Soviet Union in the current No Step Back patch. Some people seem to be struggling quite a bit. Doing a video just detailing the basic steps you're going to be taking, highlighting the way to maximize your industry and overcome the 5-year plan. Spirit, which they did buff to 5% consumer goods. It was previously 10. So let's start with focuses. The first 4 focuses you want to do is come straight down to here. Political power wise, you do not want to spend any political power until the Spanish Civil War. I'll explain why when we get there. So let's go to industry, starting with Navy. Navy is quite simple. You can finish the ships in production, but outside of that, your Navy is pretty bad and you shouldn't really bother with it too much. Just to put it in Leningrad and we will basically ignore it. Finish the ones in productions and then just produce convoys. That's all you need is the Soviets. Planes wise, we do not need fighters, and we're going to switch this to transport planes. They got nerfed, so they only give 0.2 supply per plane now instead of 1.2 supply, but they're still very important, especially for the Winter War. And if you lose Kiev, they can really save you because there's no other supply hubs nearby. So tanks got nerfed quite substantially because of the convert from stockpile change. So there's no point in really building these because they're useless. The only reason we'd build these would be to convert them to something better, which is just not viable anymore. So we're going to add a line of towed anti-air. We're going to put 3 on that, 3 on support equipment, 3 on towed artillery. This is 20 military factories. The rest of our military factories we're actually going to convert to civilian factories, so we don't need the rest of them, so we'll just put them on guns, and as we convert away from them, we'll slowly lose less and less. We're not going to bother importing this for rubber. It is a waste of civilian factories. Civilian-wise, you're going to want to convert all of the ones in Moscow, and then another 5 in Leningrad. That'll get you down to 20. And if you're lucky, the AI will import a bunch of oil from you while you do this, and it'll speed up the process. Afterwards, we are going to be upgrading infrastructure in any and all states that have at least 6 slots at this current time. Kharkov down here We'll boost that by 1, and then we'll build civs there. And I'm just going to do this for everything I see that has 6 slots that is east of. We are also going to upgrade the infrastructure in Moscow and Leningrad. As we do more industry tech, they will end up with a lot more slots, so it'll end up being worthwhile. But you should end up with about 10 to 12 places that you can build civilian factories in with max infrastructure. Research-wise, we are going to start with the basic industry tech and electrical mechanical engineering. We are going to take our divisions, we're going to assign them, we're going to use these handy buttons up here and split them off. We're also going to come over here and make sure we select 6 divisions to leave here. These 6 divisions will be for the Japanese border provocation. They generally win. And then let's take our tanks. We're going to do something a little weird with these guys. We're going to want 3 motorized and 3 tanks. If you're going to build tanks, which you can, we're going to delete 6 of them. We just want the equipment from these 6. We're now going to take these 2 and we're going to convert them to motorized divisions. With the NKVD divisions, what you can do is just establish a coastal defense with them. This way you don't have to worry about it. Once you're allowed to, you can get rid of the military police in them, but just set them up like that, and then they'll be the basis of your coastal defense. Last but not least, Navy. Actually, it is completely the least. Just grab everybody and assign them to this one. That is the one docked in Leningrad. And then just put this guy on strike force and this guy on strike force and just basically forget about him. You really don't need to pay attention to your Navy. After that, just grab your Air Force and base them out of the Ukraine. Most of these starting planes are useless, but we can use them to grind air experience. And that'll be very important because we need a lot of experience for our doctrines. Around March, you're going to get this event. Always click Mobilize the Armed Forces immediately. The 5 war support is very important. It makes sure you can take a 5% war support hit later on and still maintain 50%. Because later on, when you get to here, to get that minus 2% consumer goods and 10% factories and states, you're going to have to take a minus 5% base war support. And if you notice, before this, we were at 41%. We're now at 46. So taking that 5% is very important. Okay, we just finished this focus. These 5 guys will always get purged. There's nothing you can do to change that. From here, we are going to be going over here and doing the common turn focus. We need to wait 175 days before we can do this focus to start with. And in a little bit, the Spanish Civil War will kick off. Doing this focus for the Spanish Civil War, that gives you 109.5 army experience, which is equivalent to 1 doctrine, which is very important, and you can only do it if the Spanish War is going on. We're going to want to do this focus immediately. Research-wise, I'm going dispersed industry. The production efficiency retention and base is very important because we had a large amount of debuffs to growth. Doing construction, when we're done construction, we're going to move on to construction 2. We're doing mechanical computing. When we're done that, we will move on to improved machine tools. And dispersed 1 will move on to dispersed 2. The Spanish Civil War just fired. We're sitting at 263 political power. That is amazing. So we have to do a couple things here. We are going to need to send them volunteers. Let's just double check. We want to send them Army 4. We want to send them air volunteers. So we're going to need to wait for them to accept that. We're going to improve relations with them. We need to have positive 20 opinion with them. So now that they've accepted that, we're going to take our 200 tactical bombers and move them to Granada. And now we are going to lend-lease them about 500 trucks. This is important because when you send volunteers, you do not motorize based on trucks in your own stockpile. You motorize based on their trucks. So we need to send them trucks to be able to motorize. We are now at 21 opinion. This means we can now send them an attaché. Once we send the attaché and they accept, we get 10% war support. This puts us above 50, which allows us to go to war economy. This is why we've spent 0 political power to this point. Also, do not forget to stop improving relations with them. There's no longer any point to it. When you send them the Lend-Lease, if you want to send them all your outdated guns, go ahead. Actually, I will do that. We're going to delete half these divisions. And then we're going to send them guns based on that. Okay, having deleted those divisions, we're going to send them about 7,000 of these. That's how many you will end up having. You need an active Lend-Lease to guarantee you actually get the army experience from Lend-Leasing. So we're going to do that. What we can also do actually is send them some fighters. These fighters are useless anyway, and then we'll generate a little bit of air experience from them, and they'll also help us with air superiority. And as the common turn focus finishes, come to send military advisors to Spain for the army experience. So this is political paranoia. This is part of the new Purge. I wouldn't recommend doing the Army or the Air Force ones. You can do the Navy one if you need to decrease political paranoia, or you can forge them, because when this is over 25, you might get random purges. You definitely don't want to let it go over 75. Okay, it's August 1st and our volunteers finally arrived. Now what we're going to do is we're going to assign them one of these 3 guys. Ideally, you're going to want 2 of these 3 guys to end up with all the traits, but we're going to start off with Constantine, because he is a very good field marshal. When it comes to assigning generals here, these top 3 guys get purged. So I'd say just assign this guy, or this guy. If you want to assign Big Mustache Man, you can assign Big Mustache Man. What we're going to do is we're going to establish a front line. We're going to draw an order. We're going to unassign these divisions, and we're going to give these guys a garrison order. This means that they both now have orders, so they will both get the organizer trait. As for why we sent 3 tanks, 3 motorized, we have over 40% motorized and we have over 40% armored, which means we'll train both of these traits. That is important because there was a change to how bonuses apply to divisions. Divisions now have this composition modifier. See how our composition is currently 55% armor, 44% truck. That means if we have a 10% bonus to armor, we'll only get 5.5% of that. And if we have 10% bonus to motorized, we'll get 4.4% of that. So we now need to get both of these to get approximately the same bonus as you would have had before No Step Back. And then you're going to want to go with this one, because even if you're going something like a a 60-40 split. 40% of 15 is equal to 60% of 10. So if you're gonna have more than 60% armor, you're gonna want to go with Panzer Expert. If you're gonna have less than 40% armor, you're gonna want to go for Combined Arms Expert. You're also going to want to go for Combined Arms Expert for whoever you're going to make a Combined Arms Specialist, because you can come over here and you can get a 10% attack and defense bonus on anybody who doesn't already have a trait. Now, how are we going to win this? Well, you're going to want to punch through and cut off the south somehow. Currently, they have not finished a unplanned offensive, so we're just going to punch through right here and see if we can't cannibalize the south. I would argue you should make extensive use of the force attack bonus during the Civil War. The force attack bonus is very good for overcoming the unplanned offensive modifier. And don't forget to put your planes up. Ooh, okay, well, we managed to send more planes than we're allowed to. I wonder. We have more planes than we're allowed to here, which means if we lose one, they won't reinforce, but we are actively using all of them. So we are going to push through here. And if we check in here, you can see we are gaining all three at the same time, which is great. You're going to want to keep checking for unplanned offensives, because sometimes they'll do an unplanned offensive. They'll do one of their planned offenses right here, which is great. You can just cut down to Sevilla really quick. Do be careful of this. When you get to about 98-ish% Panzer Leader, you're going to want to swap one of these to motorized, because then you'll continue to get Cavalry Leader without getting Panzer Leader. And if you already have a trait, the next trait you grind is slower. So do be careful of that. So we just finished the focus, send military advisors to Spain. We are now going to do both of these focuses. It doesn't really matter which one you do first. We're going to do this one first just because it's a little bit faster. It'll get us that paranoia decrease sooner. I'm going to be keeping a careful eye on this. If it goes over 25%, I think I'm going to click this button. Civil War-wise, we have managed to cut them in half. They're starting to flee. When we take this tile, we'll get a supply hub. And then we're just going to want to keep coming down here to Cadiz. Cut them off from the port if we can. With our next 100 political power, we are going to get the army reformer guy. That is one of your options. The other options is if you're not that worried about army experience, you can go captain of industry. Those are your two options. I think for me personally, I know my industry is going to be pretty good, so I'm going to go for the army reformer guy first. As for the Civil War, we are making our way down towards the south. I missed it. I did not notice we got Panzer Leader. It's very easy to miss. It's not the end of the world, but it'd be nice if I didn't. Alrighty. We're nearly at Cadiz. Cadiz is a very important port. It's very important to get Cadiz. Cadiz is a port. Ports are automatically active as supply hubs. So once we get it, we now have supply. All of their divisions in the south are now cut off. And while this is happening, you hope they don't lose Madrid. I'm being honest. They find ways to lose Madrid. Now we're going to do secure the administration, and we're going to work on eliminating this pocket. Okay, so secure the administration just finished. We are now on to the second purge. We are still trying to fill in this pocket. The Spanish AI is not being the best about this. Let's just do a little industry update. We are almost done converting. military factories to civilian factories. We are still working our way through building infrastructure. You're definitely going to want to lace the infrastructure in like this. You want to build civs the second you can. Once you've built the infrastructure, you don't want to delay building the civs any longer. As for research, we are just continuing to do industry techs for the time being. Political power wise, next thing I'm going to be doing is getting captain of industry. I do not think going to free trade is worthwhile. We are not playing multiplayer, there is no trade backs. Honestly, 5% construction speed is not that big of a deal. We have far more pressing things to spend political power on these days, considering that you now need to get these high command officers. A little note about military theorists. You do not need to do military theorists until the second you're going to start doing doctrines, not a second earlier. They do not provide army experience anymore, so there's no point in rushing them anymore. Otherwise, with our now 35 army experience, I'm going to get the professional army corps. Of the ones available, this one will pay itself off. It will save you 50 army experience over the course of the game, just in reducing land doctrine cost, and it increases your army experience gain by 5%. Which helps counter the minus 10% you get from the Red Army Spirit. So we are going to take that. Outside of that, getting static warfare at some point in time, that 10% extra entrenchment is very nice. You can also get bold attack just to make sure you get attack on level up of generals. So I just got my first mini purge, and this is quite lucky. We got a navy purge. Navy purges are great because the navy is useless. As for the Spanish Civil War, we are looking like we might lose this because despite attacking this with all 6 of my units, I cannot take Sevilla, so they still have supply in this pocket. I'm not kidding. I cannot. They keep reinforcing Sevilla. Okay, so we are done the collectivization process. We're going to do the workers' dictatorship. We are going to have one extra 35-day focus when we are done that. What we're going to do is we're going to come over here and we're going to do heavy industry. Because when we're waiting for the purges, we're going to come down here, we're going to do foreign experts into this research slot. And I accidentally put my transport planes below my guns. Like an idiot. It also means I've produced literally 0 transport planes this entire game, so we're going to have to go up to 2. And we're going to put them above the trucks. Outside of that, I'm not getting lucky this time around. I'm not exporting an insane amount of oil. Sometimes you just continually export oil, like the AI forgot it bought oil from you. So I'm going to try and finish off this pocket in the south. Maybe eventually I'll take Sevilla, and hopefully we haven't lost the Spanish Civil War by when that happens. Okay, final update. Final update on the Spanish Civil War. I finally took Sevilla, but it really looks like I'm going to lose because they still have not done a planned offensive here. I can't free up about 20 divisions because they refused to do a planned offensive here, and they were still getting full supply while they had Sevilla because the local supply was enough to sustain them. So make sure you take Sevilla. Update on research. We are doing armor protection currently because I'm going to show you guys the modern tank chassis rush. To get the modern tank chassis, you only need one of the 3 advanced tank chassis. Well, this 1941 light tank chassis counts as the advanced tank chassis. The second we actually get the treaty with the Germans it gives us our 2 100% boosts to tanks, we're going to rush modern tanks. We're doing anti-tank because we're going to need some, and it also gives us the basic high velocity cannon. We're working our way towards artillery because we're also going to need that. We have finished the basic, these 3 levels. I'm going to wait until 1938 to do the next levels. I think the added time penalty is just a little too large. Okay, with our political power, we're actually not going to do anything. We are going to get the German tank treaty soon, so we'll save up for one of these 2. We're almost at organizer. Organizer cavalry leader. We'd already be there if I hadn't messed up, but it's not a hard mistake to make. Okay, there's the German-Soviet treaty. We are now going to do the final purge. After we do this purge, we're going to come over here and you now have to do focuses to send volunteers. We're going to send them to the Republic of China. You can also send them to Xinjiang. If you do that, you can get minus 3 or 4% consumer goods factories for the cost of some political power. I don't think that is worthwhile. You get so much air experience from supporting the non-communist party that it is just so worthwhile. You will overcap your air experience. As we are right now, we're at 301, which is very nice. Now, they are finally starting to take attrition from low supplies. Okay, The AI should be able to fix everything else down south. We need to go fix that. Seize them. 5% consumer goods, that's so good. At some point in time, you're going to want to put support anti-air and support artillery in your tanks. Remember, this is single player. You're going to be fighting a lot of infantry. This is really bad. We actually got a army one, and because of that, I'm gonna click this button first, and then I'm gonna do this one. That is really bad. The only ones you don't want to do are the army ones. And then when we have the war support, we're gonna do war propaganda, or sorry, the political power. We're gonna try and take Madrid from them. If we can do that, we will probably be able to create a decent little encirclement in the center. We are advancing along a railway line already, so that allows us to now send volunteers to China. With that done, we still have a bunch of extra time, so we're going to continue down to finish the 5-year plan. Right now, because I selected China, I can send 10. You can only send about 6 if you select Xinjiang. And take these 10 because they already have some experience. The other option is you send tanks if you want more tank commander traits. Because the Spanish Civil War is not over, we're going to be able to get all of ours. And then you're also going to want to send as many fighters as you can. So that's saying we can send 170. Oops, that's 80. And we're gonna put these guys here, and we're just gonna put them on air superiority once they deploy. And that's it. They're just gonna grind us air experience. Meanwhile, we are over here, and they are continually reinforcing this. Alrighty, let's try and go around them then. Okay, if they walk out of that tile, then that's gonna be excellent for us. Okay, they did. So that's a nice encirclement. We're gonna get a German mechanized in there, plus a decent chunk of the Portuguese and Italian volunteers. So now we just attack into the pocket to close it. With that encirclement, we've now won the Spanish Civil War. The question is just really, can we get enough traits on Zhukov? If you don't get all of them, that's fine. You can also grind during the Winter War so it's not that big of a deal. So with these 10 divisions, did they ever fix that? They did actually fix that. We're just going to hold here. If we hold here and we hold Beijing, they don't get the supply hubs. Outside of that, I forgot to send them motorized. We're also going to send them about 500 motorized. And we're going to send them... We'll send them like 5,000 of these guns and 1 artillery piece a month. Just to grind a little bit more army experience. We're getting close to that air experience cap. So we're going to go get... I go operational integrity as the Soviets because I'm more worried about winning the air war. If you're confident you're going to win the air war, the middle is the best. The right is the best at helping you win the air war. And then the left is a combination of helping you win the air war and doing damage with bombers once you have. So I'm going to go right. I'm only going to go to there, I think. Actually, no, we'll go get fighter detection. And then it's now November of 1937. I'll show you how much air experience you can grind just from setting these guys here. I'm going to set them both to 100, so if they can reinforce to 200, they'll reinforce to 200. Focus-wise, we're doing infrastructure effort now. I have not built an intelligence agency, so I can't do this yet, but it is very important to behead the snake. This modifier gets changed to just minus 5% stability. Now is actually probably a good time to just start building it. No, what? Okay. Can't trust the AI to do anything. I swear. The AI would lose its head if it wasn't screwed on properly. Okay, that is fleet coordination. It doesn't matter. Again, if they give you a Navy one, you take the Navy one. Of course the AI went and got itself encircled. And I'm force attacking, so I can't do anything about it. Okay, we'll send you two back up north to try and fix that. We'll keep attacking the divisions in the center so that they can't rework. Oh, never mind, it got deleted. I'm currently making a copy of our base division. This is actually going to be our final division. Minus the anti-tank, we're not going to bother putting that on right now. we are going to be converting our Chinese volunteers to this division template. It's going to help. It's going to just pack a little bit extra punch. And this is a 21 width division. This defends actually pretty well across the river line. It defends pretty well in general, actually. And then, even though the Spanish Civil War is still going on, you're going to have to come over here and you're going to have to remember to cycle these every once in a while. I'm using this guy. It's a little dangerous to use this guy because he can get purged by the mini purges. Your other options are to use someone like him, who, like this guy who has an inflexible strategist. That's really good. It's a plus 10% to defense. You can also just select anybody who has infantry officer. They also work. Meanwhile, in Spain, we're finally closing this pocket. And once we've closed that, I'm just going to inefficiently finish this war, just grinding as much experience as I can along the way. So now that we've finished the 5-year plan, we're actually able to do the final of the Purge trials. Doing this one will get rid of the political paranoia, which is important. We're at the point where another random mini purge can happen at any point in time. There's nothing I can do about that. It will likely fire. I don't think the option will show up in time. Outside of that, I'm slowly building up our agency so that we can send a spy. So we can send a spy to Mexico. That allows us to assassinate Trotsky. Otherwise, over here, we are working on maintaining both of these provinces. I've been a little preoccupied with the Spanish Civil War, so hopefully we don't lose this one. Hopefully we get those reinforcements in there. Game doesn't seem to be wanting to reinforce. Are you kidding me? We've been here for like 3 days. We're gonna... Okay. What about my divisions? Are my divisions ever gonna reinforce? You're kidding me. The RNG on that is insane. This is literally my least lucky run as the Soviets. Either way, we're at almost 200 army experience now, which is nice. That's not great. We can get rid of that, though. There is this focus right here that will let us get rid of it. Okay, we're going to send those guys over there. It could have been worse. We could have purged the general we're actively trying to grind. Oh, and they're going... Why are they snaking? They don't have the units for that. AI has not been improved. Anybody who claims it has been improved is lying. It's just more aggressive. So that's the end of the Spanish Civil War. They became our puppet because we won. It is tempting at the moment to do improved worker conditions, but we're not. We've also finished the Purge. We've also finished foreign experts. We're now going to go down and get this research slot. It doesn't matter which one you do first. Outside of that, we have political power now. We are going to get this one. Getting this one is important because it gives you decisions to bring in experts. You're going to want to bring in the American expert. The extra 10% production efficiency cap is huge. But to do that, we need to improve relations with them and get more political power. We are still managing to hold over here in China, which is grinding us a good amount of air experience. Let's delete that air wing. Actually, we should have sent that air wing because it has all of our good fighters. Either way, Zhukov didn't quite get all the way there. We'll have to grind him during other wars, but that is fine. I'm going to do a quick recap of what I've been researching. I'm currently doing Construction 3 and Disperse 3 for more factory slots and more construction speed. We're then going to get advanced machine tools. Have done computing machine. We're going to be working on this. We're going to be working our way towards artillery and infantry equipment 2 next. We are researching light tanks. We are almost halfway through. We are still building up all of these states. Every state that has 100% in it. Do not build in Kiev, just in case you lose Kiev. It is quite risky. You might lose it, you might not. We're currently up to 100 civilian factories. That's a good amount for 1938. We probably, yeah, we have more than Germany. So we just finished getting our research slot. Don't do this focus. It's a lot of 50 political power decisions, and it gives you 1% research boost. It's not worth it. We're going to come over here, we're going to behead the snake. That's going to allow us to assassinate Trotsky. With this additional research slot, we're going to do advanced machine tools. I'm going to use the construction 3 research slot to go to infantry equipment 2, and I'm going to use disperse 3 artillery 2. And we should probably start heading towards lag 3s soon. Also, a quick little update on our experience situation. We're now up to 300 air experience. This is why you send the volunteers to non-aligned China. We are also doing the bring in American experts decision. After this is done, you'll get an option of 3 choices. Take the one that gives you minus 5% consumer goods. It's the best one by far. When it comes to assassinating Trotsky after having finished behead the snake, I always do raid Trotsky's villa. I've done it like 3-4 times now. I've never had it fail. I don't know if there's a penalty for doing this, but the fact that it's only 60 days versus 270 days is just so much better. It means you get rid of this penalty just so much faster. As for now, we're going to be coming down here. We're going to do these focuses here. They give you a ton of political power. When you can do it, you should do Stalin's cult of personality. The ability to do under the leadership of Stalin is huge. It gives you a lot of war support for 15 political power. Okay, it's now April 1939. I've got 2 updates. One, we're now going to start building military factories east of the Urals. Perm does count, just so that we have 3 in all of these states. Try and build them in states that already have one. We have a focus, the Tankograd focus, which grants us an extra military factory in all of these states. So you're going to need to build in 10. You can't do more than 10, but you can do 10. We are going to let all of our current ones finish, and then we are going to start building military factories literally everywhere. As you can see, we're already up to 150, 11 are from exports, so we're going to get about 160, 170 civilian factories at least. The way this is going, we're going to have approximately 400 factories by Barb. As for the war in China, I've literally just been cycling these guys constantly. We're a good chunk of the way towards infantry leader on this guy, and we've grinded out nearly 500 air experience, which means we can come down here and we can go get agility. And that's the main thing we want. We get 20% fighter detection, which makes it easier for us to spot their fighters, and then we get this agility. And that's really all of the doctrines you need. With the rest of this air experience, once we're finished that and we get fighter 2s, we're going to max out the engines on fighter 2s. Outside of that, we're sitting on army experience for now. We don't have our theorists yet. So the Japanese just did provocation at the border. It's going to fire in about 10 days. And when this happens, it allows you to completely reorg and re-entrench your line because they just kind of pull off way too many units. These guys are all nice and trained. We're actually just going to move them into this province to start with so that we don't have to deal with reinforcement rate, because this is the province it always happens in. Okay, and apparently the Japanese are capable of getting reinforced beams during that, because I'm looking at these 4 divisions, they got full org. I don't know why that battle ended, it just did, but that can happen sometimes. Little update, we are going to do Katushkas and mechanized. They are very strong, a lot of soft attack. These are mechanized, and Katushkas are like the only way to beat 10-withs other than tanks that can't be pierced. We're still going to be doing tanks, but those are not going to be ready until about late 1941. So we have a stopgap measure just in case. And we're getting the Lag 3, the Fighter 2. Outside of that, that's not worthwhile. We will be getting the MiG Design Bureau next. Alrighty, back to staring at a border in China. We just got the lag 3. We just hit the air speed cap a couple of days ago, and that is basically perfect timing. I don't necessarily need 500 range. You don't necessarily need it. Maybe you want to go 2 on weapons, 3 on range. Just remember, this reliability number does not matter. Actually, I think that's a good option. That right here, there. We're going to put that into production, and basically, we're going to put 25 factories on that. We're going to come back, we're going to put 15 factories on close air support, and then we're going to put another 25 factories on fighters, while maintaining this 5, 5, 5, 10. We'll actually stop off in between. We'll go up to 15 on infantry equipment. And at this point, we're just finishing off these last couple of civilian factories, and we're at 172 currently. And we are building all of these military factories. We're getting kind of close to being able to do Tankograd. Right now, we'd get it in 8 states. There's 2 more to go. After we do that, we'll do Baltic security. It doesn't matter when you do that. Do note these cost 75 each, so you're going to need a bunch for that. Sino-Japanese War, we've actually managed to push out from Beijing. If we can hold here and attack down, get a nice little encirclement, that'll be good. There we go, that's a nice little encirclement for us. We've actually managed to grind adaptable on this guy because we defended Beijing for so long. Haven't gotten organizer yet though. It's going to be a very long time to get organizer because of that. He is incredibly balanced. Otherwise, the buildup is looking quite good. Actually, I'm back early. I just finished an operation in Bhutan. I stole research tech from them, and I just want to show the power of that. I got a 300% boost, or a 1 year ahead of time penalty, and a 300% boost for doing it. And that is because we are so far ahead of them. So that's actually what I'm just doing right now. I'm going to keep stealing tech from them. We're going to use it to get all sorts of stuff. This is so powerful, I'm actually going to swap probably him out for the elusive gentleman. Just to make it happen faster. Because then we don't have to rebuild the supply network each time. As for China, China's still going very well. And I forgot to show this, but I am going Grand Battle Plan. The 2 minus 10% supply consumptions are very good. It's just very good. Realistically though, you can go Grand Battle Plan and stack entrenchment. And the only source of coordination, 10% coordination, is really important if you're going to use large divisions. So really, either side of these is good. If you go right side, you get the minus 10% supply consumption. Left side, you get the coordination. Or the meta right now is going superior firepower right and just stacking as many support company modifiers as you can. You can go any of them. I'm going mass assault because we start with 1 in it, and I've run into problems before as the USSR. When I didn't grind the Sino-Japanese War properly, I ended up in a position where I capped the Germans and I only got down to like fast offensives. Like I didn't finish the tree. When I did this as Trotsky, this is where I got to as Trotsky, having capped Germany. So I just finished the focus for claims in the Baltics, and we are now ready to send the ultimatums to Estonia and Latvia. It is not necessary to send it to Lithuania. They are west and south of the river line. So what you can do is you can actually just not send it to Lithuania if you don't want to. We also have deployed our transport planes, and this is important because we need them. There is no supply on the front line up here. Okay, it's time for the Winter War. I just had a thought. I should probably show you the tank I'm building for light tanks. It's nothing too special. It's one of a few options you have. This is an anti-tank tank, with a little bit of soft attack, and enough armor that they won't be pierced by infantry. The other option you have is going riveted armor, taking all of this off, and just accepting you're going to get pierced and just not caring. That's another option. You lose a lot of breakthrough though, so you're going to at least want to go to here, and that's going to save you about 4 production cost each. And then you can also go for something like the close support gun, gives you a lot of soft attack, gives you no piercing though. You have the improved automatic cannon, lots of soft attack on this. I would not go for the howitzer or the improved howitzer because it requires you use fixed superstructure, which just completely guts your breakthrough. It's literally halving my breakthrough because it's removing your main source of breakthrough and also giving you minus 25% reduction. I'm going to keep the welded armor though. I'm going to make sure I don't get pierced by infantry that don't have anti-tank. And then we have the winter war. Well, it's not it's actually winter, but it's the wrong winter. I waited an extra year because it doesn't matter when you do this. And by doing so, I have full supply all the way along here from having all those transport planes. That's the main reason I built those transport planes. But we're going to use this as just an opportunity to grind as much of that remaining amount as possible. To the point where I'm not even going to use Air Force. Oh, and we stole another industry blueprint from Bhutan. Ah, we lost our infiltration though. That's less than ideal. But let's go see what we got. Oh look, we got another 300% boost. I'm just saying, it's kind of broken. Anyways, let's grind this out real quick. Not even gonna bother going off speed 5. Just snake along this railroad up to that supply hub. Send you guys back down. And we're literally just going to engage in as many combats as we can. That is the name of the game. Just grab your units, it doesn't matter which type you grab, and just engage in combat. Oh, and we are going down towards this other research slot now. After we do that research slot, we're going to come down here and do military reorganization. We don't really need to do anything else over here. You don't need to do these focuses. You don't need to get rid of the Soviet Air Force modifier. It's not a great modifier, but you don't have to get rid of it. It definitely might make sense for me to do this and then merge. We're not going to be able to do that because I didn't research medium tanks. But I really don't care because I'm going to have modern tanks. We're also going to need to start building up the infrastructure. So you're going to want to build a port right here. And another thing you're going to want to do is upgrade this first and then draw that line. It automatically makes this a level 2. Don't ask me why, but it does. And now instead, and then it's only going to, you can just delete that. It won't upgrade that part. So that's really nice. You're going to want to upgrade that part just to make sure you constantly have level 2 supply there. You're going to want to draw back from here just in case you lose here. And I'm going to go to level 3 the entire way here. We're also going to make that level 3. And this level 2. So this will give us level 2 supply the entire way. And then another thing you're going to want to do, just in case the continuation war happens, is build a port up here instead of a supply hub and then just connect it by a level 1 railroad. Ports act as supply hubs, but they're 1/4 the cost, so it's just a better option to produce them. Alrighty, we can get another 2 of these. This is the best I've ever had this go. Usually I'm stuck around here, but being all the way down here is huge. I am, however, going to need to substantially increase the amount of guns I'm producing then, because my divisions just went from 21 widths to 17.4s. Ooh. Whoa, 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 holy. Where did I get so many guns from? Oh, it's because I delayed annexing these guys for so long. They just gave me like 40,000 guns. Oh, and for generals here, just appoint anyone as a infantry officer. The guys in the middle here, you're going to want to give this guy, because you can give them camouflage expert, which is a really nice trait. Reduces cast damage they're going to take. But everyone else, it doesn't matter. Just anybody with infantry expert until you run out of guys with infantry expert. Or not infantry expert, infantry officer, because they'll get infantry expert faster. Okay, these guys, he's got an infantry leader, which is good. He's almost got an organizer actually too, so he could almost be another field marshal, but he's kind of getting in my way of grinding at the moment, so he's so close, but it's not worth it. I've never done this before, but I'll do it. Nobody ever said I had to call them to the war. I'm going to send China a little bit of help. We're going to send back our air volunteers. We're not going to bother sending actual volunteers, but we'll send back the air volunteers. Okay, given that it is now nearly barb time, we are going to start doing more. We're going to start going down here towards military reorganization. We need to start doing the defensive stats. Okay, so it is now June 1941. The Germans are justifying on us. We have 375 factories. I would have liked slightly more, but that's okay. We have a good amount of stockpiles of everything other than artillery, but we're producing nearly 20 artillery a day. Fighters wise, we have 3,800. I'm about to pull back the ones we have in China. This is part of the reason why I went for Steel Wings, Steel Hearts. I'm not going to have time to train all of these guys, so rather than this being close to a 13-14% penalty, it's only 8. 6 guys, send them up to the Baltic states. We're going to send 6 guys and send them to Belarus. And then every other plane we have is going to go over the Ukraine. We also have about 800 CAS plus 200 from China, so about 1,000 CAS. We also are producing 15 fighters a day. And then we just got Infantry Equipment 3 and Mechanized 2. So we are prepared to run the Germans over. I'm not going to take a focus for now, so that I can do desperate measures immediately. And we are going to prepare a collaborationist government in Germany. We have our 2 ports here and here acting as supply hubs. And then we have these 24 and these 12 are going to be our defensive line in case they do the continuation war. We're a little behind on our infantry defensive tech, but that's okay. It's not that big of a deal. We're defending a river anyways. This is a very basic setup. I mean, if you want, you could spam out another like 40 of these 12 widths and you can fill in, you know, all the railway lines. Like, you can fill in all sorts of spaces just to make sure it gets damaged. I'm not going to do that, just to show you don't need to. There we go. They disrupted a plan I never did. Ooh, I'm so mad. I'm actually going to do more metal, means more weapons, because it gives you a good amount. Thank you for watching this video. I know it's quite long. It is supposed to be a comprehensive guide, something that you can watch while playing so you figure things out step by step. There's a part 2 that will be linked in the description. Part 2 is where you'll see the actual combat, how well the divisions hold. Anyways, thank you for watching this video, and I will try to upload more frequently.